everyone, Build It here. I am getting ready to work on the carbon rods. So what are the carbon rods? So there's these black rods. Get this other camera out of the way here. These black rods here, they're actually black tubes. I guess they're supposed to be carbon fiber, but I don't really know that they are. Anyway, whatever they are, you're going to attach these. No. You're going to have to attaching these little, like, I forgot what they call them now. Fisheye bearings. So they have these fisheye bearings that you're going to attach to the carbon rods. And the way you do that is you have a all threaded piece of thread stock. It's M3 size thread stock. I don't know how long it is. It's not important how long it is. So what you want to do is you want to screw that into the fisheye bearing, and get it started. You're not going to be able to do this all by hand, but get it started by hand, trying to keep it somewhat straight when you're doing it. And then what I did was I took a pair of pliers and I grabbed onto the thread, because it's not going to matter what if the threads get torn up on this. And then I just started screwing it in. The reason it's not going to matter, you'll see in a moment why it's not going to matter. So I screwed this in. I've already done all the others. I just showed you how to do one. You don't need. I don't want you to sit here and watch me do. There's 2 per motor, so there's 6 of these times 2, so there's 12 that you have to do of these things, of these fisheye lens and bearings. So what you're going to do is this goes into the rod like that. The rod is not smaller, not the same diameter as the inside diameter as the threaded stock, so you're going to put it in there. That's what they give you the package of glue for. So the package, this looks like, and I hate to say it, I can't tell from the name, I can't read Chinese. I may speak a little bit of Chinese, but even not that much. But anyway, it looks like it might be an epoxy, so a 2-part epoxy. And you mix that up, you put it either on the threads or in the tube. Probably easier to put it on the threads. Then you'll stick the threaded part in and wipe off the excess. I haven't assembled all the tubes. I just did all the fisheye bearings. Is the only thing I did. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and glue one of these together, and we'll do that. And then after that, so what's after that? Let's see. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, I used long wires before because I said I couldn't find the short wires. I found the short wires that go for the motor drives from the control board, and I put all the short wires in. So I still have the long ones available to go in whatever positions they actually need. Not that it matters. I have plenty of extra wires in my miscellaneous stuff that I have. I don't know if I've ever said it, but I've been doing 3D printing for about 7 years now. And like I said, I think this is my 9th printer now. I have 2 SLA printers. I have a Prusa clone. I actually have a Prusa i2 Mach 2S with the MMU, which is multi-material. It does 4 different. It can do 4 different colors, on the same printer. I have a Creality Ender 3 and a Creality CR10S, and then I have an HC3D Delta printer that does 600 millimeter tall by 280 millimeter diameter print volume. And let's see what else. Then I have an FL Sun Cube, which is a cube-shaped printer, similar to like the Creality Ender 5, if any of you know what that is. So I'll get my glue open here. I think I'm not going to use this glue, since I'm pretty sure it's a 2-part epoxy, part A, part B. I have an open tube of epoxy here, Gorilla Glue epoxy. I'll mix that and use that rather than open up these tubes of adhesive. Well, I don't know the quality of the adhesive. It might be plenty good, may not be. I don't know. I'll use the Gorilla in my place. I just need to find me a piece of paper to use to mix the stuff together on. And let's see, I gotta find something I can use as a mixing paddle for this. Let's see what I have in my toolbox. Oops, something for, oh, the glue fell over. Grab my tool, reach in my toolbox here and see what I got I can use for mixing. Oh, this will work. This is like a dental tool. Actually, it's a tool for working clay. Is what it really is. So it's stainless steel. It's not a big deal. The stuff, you can actually scrape the epoxy off of this when it's dry, and it comes right off. So I'll just mix some of this epoxy up, and we'll do up a couple of these. This is 5-minute epoxy, so it sets in 5 minutes. And since it's 2 parts, it's set to squeeze out. Ugh, if I can get it out, there. So it's set to do both sides, or both the resin and the hardener. Funny they call it epoxy because really, it's a resin. Epoxy resin is really why they call it epoxy. So this is an epoxy resin. If you've done anything like Decopore, I'm not sure how you say it, then you've used epoxy resin. This is a clear resin, as you can see. I don't know if you can see in the video, but it's clear. Maybe I can bring the other camera in while we're doing this so we can get a little closer look at things. And I'll get that set up here. And we can maybe get a little closer look. I'll turn it on. See what we got here. It's out of focus, obviously. So we're going to set this up, and then I want to show the glue, putting the glue into into the part, right? Into the tube here. So I'm going to get in here and I'm going to put it in the tube. Let's see. I need to get that camera to focus. And let's see. Wrong thing. Get my camera focused here. And bring it over here. Let's figure this thing to do camera control, focus. Then turn auto back on. There we go. So now the auto kicked in, as you can see. So I have this ready to go. I've mixed it up. Since this has a nice sharp tip on it, I'm actually going to stick some of this inside the tube and try and get some in. And then I'm going to spread some onto the threads of for the fisheye bearing. And then I'm going to put that in. I'm going to turn it as I go to help spread this around the threads. And then I'm going to squeeze it on there. Now there's some excess that kind of squeezed out on this. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but that excess is there. I'm going to take a paper towel or something, and I'm going to wipe that excess off so that there isn't any excess on the outside when I'm done. I want it to look clean, as clean as I can make it look. So that's number one, and then you do the same thing on the other end. Now I'm not sure, I haven't looked at this yet, but I need to check that. I'm not sure whether whether the parts are turned or whether they're the same direction for the bearings. They're the same direction. As you see, like this is facing up and this is facing up. So that's what I wanted to know. I wasn't sure on that. So we'll put a little bit of glue inside. We will spread some more on the end of the threads here. doesn't really matter if I spread it around the threads, because if I put it in and I turn it at the same time like this, then it's spreading it around the threads as I go. And that one didn't squeeze out all over. They didn't cut the end of the thread rod straight, so it has a little bit of an angle to it. You can see, I don't know if you can see it in there or not in the video, but there's actually an angle to the piece so it doesn't fit flush, because on one side it's high and one side is low. So that's you know, nothing I can do about that. I didn't cut the rods, and I'm not sure how critical the length is, but they should have been more careful when they were cutting their rods, and or whatever. You know, they should have been more careful about it. I can see this one's not straight either. Same problem. So we're gluing. I'm going to glue all the rods and do all the bearings at the same time. You know, at this time. And we'll just put some of this glue on here, and we'll, if you like it, if you turn it, it'll spread it around the thread, so you don't have to worry about it not getting coated thoroughly. The only problem I'm having is that as I do it, the other end tends to kind of fall off, so you got to push it back in when you're done. This will set in 5 minutes, so we've got a little bit of working time before it needs to be all used up. And to clean that excess glue off of that. And we're just going to keep assembling these rods and making sure they are, you know, 90 degrees or the same angle going up. I don't want them to be different. We want them to be all facing up. If I can get this thing to turn, the ball to turn. That ball is not wanting to turn because it's gotten kind of jammed in here at an angle. Yeah. Wow. So get that guy there. So I want them all. I'm doing them all facing up so that I can see it, and then I'll just keep working on them. I got 2 done. Just keep. As I've said before, and if you paid attention, wash and repeat. Wash and rinse. Actually, wash and rinse. So you wash it and then you rinse it. You wash it and then you rinse it. And then you wash it and then you rinse it over and over and over and over until we're done. And the towel fell on the floor. Wipe off the excess. And that's half of number 3. The glue is starting to solidify on me. So I need to get moving on this. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Get that one in place. Make sure it's facing up. And that's everyone. Now, as you can see, it's starting to solidify here, and that's too bad. So that means I got to mix more glue up for this to work. It's starting to gel on me. It'll probably still work, but as you can see, it's getting harder and harder for me to actually put it on the threads now. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do much more after this one. In fact, it's already too thick. As you can see, it needs, yeah, so that means I gotta, maybe I can get one more on here and finish up this rod. That means I'll have to mix more. last one, this one done. So I only have 2 more rods to do and this will be completed. That's why there's still 4 of these left and 2 more rods, and we're almost there. So I'm going to fold this paper over so I don't deal with the stuff that's not used here that's still sticky, gooey. I'll fold that over like that and get it out of the way, and put some more on and mix some more up. It's pushing out all of the one but none of the other. So I pull the handle back after I'm done. I hold it upright and I pull the handle back to suck the glue back out of the tubes on the tube for the glue. Now put some in here. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Not that it matters because this is brand new glue and I got plenty of time to do the 2 that I'm doing. Towel. Not going to worry so much about, I can turn it just like I did this now where it's already in, and turn it and it'll still spread the glue around. And then we'll make sure these are facing the same direction. And we got 1 more left to do and then we'll be done with all the gluing of the tubes here. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done tonight, so ignore my numbering when I'm talking in the video because I had plans to do the videos differently, but I didn't want to make the parts, you know, of the build video too long. The first one was a bit long, it was over an hour, and I'm trying to keep things, you know, around, you know, a half hour to 45 minutes or less if I can. And so one video I say, you know, stay tuned for part 4 or something like that, and you know, that one is like part 5 already, so it's really part 6 that was coming up next. And it's because I was planning on doing less parts of video, less assembly videos. But I don't want people to get too bored either, and so I made sure the videos are a bit shorter. And that helps to keep things on a timely pace, and you don't get too bored watching my stupid videos and listening to me ramble on about miscellaneous crap that you may not even care about. But you know, what do I do during the time, right? Talk about miscellaneous crap so that you know, I'm just sitting here doing this, and I can talk about other things while I'm doing this. Okay, so that's all glued. They're all glued. They need to dry. It's going to take a few minutes. So we're going to, let's see what's next on the agenda on the build. I'll turn off the one camera, and we'll oops, wrong thing actually. Turn off the camera there. Okay, so we do the fisheye lens. So now it comes time. It looks like we're going to build the sled next. That's what I call it. I don't know what they want to call it. They call it a belt connector. Okay, well, whatever. And then the effector plate. So the belt connector, this is actually the exact same part, excuse me, that was used on my other Delta printer for building. They called it a sled, they're calling it a belt holder, but so the belt gets attached to this. So what's going to happen is you're going to attach it on one end on this device, which is going to be screwed into our linear bearings, and then you're going to attach one of the belt on it, and then you're going to wrap it around over the motor, back down and through the pulley on the bottom, and then back into the belt holder. And on the ends of the belt holder, you'll see there's like two like ears that stick out almost right here, and one on the other side. Those are where your rods are going to attach to with the M320. And then you're going to attach the other end of the fisheye bearings of the rods to the effector plate. And that's basically how we're going to assemble this thing. So here's the belt holder, as they call it, or belt connector. Here's that piece I was telling you about, the little ear, and that's where the rods will connect. The fisheye bearings on the rods will connect. And here's how you wrap the belt around to tighten it. And this is for tensioning the belt if your belt is too loose. You should be able to tighten this. I mean, I had a bit of trouble tightening my other Delta printer because the belts are like, let's see, the whole printer is 48 inches tall. So it's like 46 inches of belt twice, because it has to go up and back. And so that's like 9 feet of belt that it's running. So I got it tight enough to make the printer work. So this should be, and I have nothing in there as a belt tensioner on it. So I should be able to get this just as well. So yeah, I think this will be okay. My other printer, the rods are actually steel rods instead of graphite rods. And they were pre-built. So the steel with these same kind of connectors on the end. It looks like they use the exact same parts for the fisheye bearings on both of those, but that one's steel, and they came pre-built. So let's see. We need the effector and the sleds. So here's, I call them sleds, the belt connector they call it. So here's the 3 belt connectors. So let's get that together first. Those actually are going to get mounted on our bearings. So that's where we're going to start. It uses M310s. So that's mostly what we have left in our stock of screws is M310s. And so the M310s are going to go into the plastic like so. They're actually inset into this, and then it will screw into the bearing. I want to make absolutely sure this is an M310 because if it's too long, it will go too far in, and I don't want that either. These actually look like they're a bit longer than 10s, but you know, my eyeball measurement system isn't the best in the world anymore. Not as good as it was when I didn't wear glasses. But yeah, so this is actually longer. This is M316. So these are 16s, and so I need the 10s. So these are 10s. I can tell by looking at them now that I know those are 16s. Yes, this is a 10. So these are the M310s. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna insert it into the belt holder or belt connector, and I'll install put the next one in. We're gonna put a total of 4 of these in. Of course, getting it to line up and go in the hole. There we go. And then in this one, like that, getting them in the hole sometimes. Need a little. Oh, never not say that. I don't want to be accused of being a chauvinist or whatever. Put that one in. And that was it. Okay, so got those. Make sure I have the right. Nope, that's the M4. That's the M3. Oop, pulled it out. See. And then we're gonna. I think it goes up. I'll get it lined up with the hole on this first one, and I'll check and make sure that it does go up, and it does. I just want to make sure. Where, oh where? One more. I can't see it, so I'm working blind here. Okay, so that's in. That one's in. That one's in. And that one's done. Okay, so one down. I'll do a close-up with the other camera on the next one, so you all can see it a little better. Get the other camera positioned here. Oops, sorry. Can you see that okay? Oh, no. Sorry. I turned the camera on now. Come on. Oh. I'm always doing this with the mouse because I'm on two screens. No. Yeah, you can see it right there. So it's right here. We're going to attach onto there. Let's see if I can turn this a little bit. Get it centered a little bit more. And then we're going to, let's see. Okay. Alright, well, not perfect, but it'll be good enough. You can see what we're working on. So, grab some more 10mm screws. Maybe. One. Two. Alright, so this is going to go on. We'll put one of them started in the hole. I don't know what you can see. I can't tell what you can see. Maybe I need to angle that because I see that I'm mostly in the way on it. I don't know if you can see it or not. And I'll start the next screw. I can't see what you see, like I said. So there, I can see you're able to see it. Next one. That was not wanting to start for some reason. Okay. Maybe I made it too tight on the upper ones and it's not wanting to start in the thread. I don't, or it's stripped out. This isn't the first time, by the way. There we go, got it. And one more. Oops, my camera just fell over. So one more here somewhere. I can't see what I'm doing, so because it's turned at a weird angle for me. We'll get this guy in. Done. Tighten them up. Done. Okay. And then that one. Done. Okay, so you got a close-up view of it. You got to see what it looks like. I got all the screws in on that one. I have one more to do. It's the same thing. The little chime that you just heard was the rendering of the, I don't know, part 5 of the series of videos. So I just finished rendering. I'll be uploading. I'll get that ready to upload here. Let's see. Here. YouTube. Upload. Select my file. And let's see, I just did part 5. No, that's AEP, not that. Oh, no, that's AEP, AEP, AEP. Come on, alright. Maybe it's down here. Part 3, part 1, part 5. So, doing part 5, and it takes a while for it to upload on YouTube. And now while we're doing that, I'll minimize it out of my way. And then I'm going to go back to, oops, wrong one. Edge is where the PDF browser is built in. I'll put that back up again. Okay, let's see. Got that, got that. Okay, just have one more to put on. You've seen the close-up. You don't need to see the close-up all 3 times of this. Get that camera out of the way. And we'll do the last sled here. Sorry, belt connector. It's funny how one manufacturer will call it one thing, one manufacturer will call it another, but whatever. It's all the same. Okay, so I got all 3 screws put in place here, and we'll get the thread lined up, maybe, and get it started. Get that one started. Nope. Okay, that one started. That one started. And that one. Tighten. What else can we talk about? Let's see. So what else do I do? I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but just in case, I will mention it again. If you have heard it, I'm sorry for repeating myself. But what do I do for a living? I am an electrical test engineer for General Atomics. So what is General Atomics? Well, there's actually multiple things that General Atomics does. The original parent company actually worked in atomic energy. But the division I work for is aeronautical systems. And what do? We build the Predators and Reapers, the unmanned air vehicles that are being used by the military. So that's what I do for a living. Let's see, before that I worked at Sierra Wireless doing wireless modems that went into your computers. Before that I worked for Nokia for 10 years. And before that I worked for another electronic manufacturer working for military aviation test systems. So what I do at General Atomic is I'm an electrical test engineer. I design test fixtures and I write automated test software to control the fixtures for testing the aviation and electronics that go inside the plane. When I started, we had a total of 12 people in our group. We are now up to just over 100 people in the group. Our planes, of course, are quite popular. They did a calculation on the total number of hours our planes have been flying. And we have planes flying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week currently. Total number of hours since the very beginning that we started running our planes in the field is over 7 million hours cumulative now. So that shows how good our products are. We've been around for a while. We deliver about 50 to 100 planes a year, and I've been working there for 11 years, going on 12 years. 12 years, I'm sorry. Just celebrated my 12th anniversary in October. So I've been there 12 years now. So, yeah, that's where we are. Anyway, we got that. So these little spring things, let's see, pull one out here. This, you see it in the picture, in the drawing. This is your belt tensioner. That is this device right here. It's for tensioning the belt, to take up extra slack in the belt, to make the belt a little tighter. We'll see if we actually need it. I don't know if we will or not. I didn't need it on my big printer, and that big printer is twice the size of this printer, at least. So I don't think I'll need it on this printer either. So it looks like, you know, they're getting us prepped up to do the belts. So let's see what the next step is after this. We've already put the sleds on the guide rails. Yep, so it's showing the belt going on right here. You can see the belt here. That's this blue here on the video. That's the belt. And they aren't going to show you much else other than that. So okay, so let's skip around that, and we'll go ahead and install it. You know, it shows you loop it around here on the you loop it around here, which is the gear for the motor, and you loop it around the bottom pulley, or idler, as they want to call it, and that's basically all you do for it, and you insert it in and feed it into this part. So what you'll do is you'll put one end on first, you'll loop it all the way around everything, bring up the other end, and try and hold it tight and put it into that slot and wrap it around that one post to lock it in place. It's a pain to do, but you know, it's what you do. It's what you have to do on this. Now let me find the belt that came with this kit, and not my other belt that I have in my spare parts stuff. And so here's the belts. Hopefully they have multiple belts. They have some spiral wrap that will go around some of our electrical wires. And they have the belts, which looks like they've cut them already. Hopefully they didn't mess up the lengths of the belts like they messed up the bottom and top plates. Because truthfully, that would not be good. So let's see, you want that way. So I'm gonna do it from the bottom, and I just put that in there like that. This is something that they talked about in mine, is that these don't want to always stay in, and you may want to. There is someone, I can't remember who it was, made a thing that you can put on here to fix that, so they don't come off as easy. So we get this around the idler, like so. And then we're going to bring it up and through, and we're going to take it over the motor and over that gear, and then back down. Now let's see, went the wrong way. Okay, not a problem. Actually, want to go this way with it. Is that right? Yeah, so I want to go this way with it. And down around the motor this way. Because there's a slot built into the sled. And you want the belt to go through that slot. Can you see you can't see the whole thing here. Let's see. You see the top now? Okay, so I'm feeding the belt up. We're going to go over the top of the pulley. I don't know, should I put the other camera on and show the top here so that you can see this? I think I should. What do you think? Of course, you guys can't answer because I'm not on a live stream. We've never done a live stream, so I don't know if anybody's interested in that. You know, that way you can kind of chat. But I have to be paying attention to chat when I'm doing that, and then not as much work gets done when you're trying to chat and do and assemble and build and do everything. Okay, so we're going to come around now. Obviously, they made the belt plenty long. So what we want to try and do is stretch this, but we want to put a loop in it. Let's see, that is not, let's see, wrong way, this way. We're going to come this way with it. What we want to try and do is stretch this and make that loop small enough that it will go around the post but keep tension. So that's already too loose, I can tell. And you just keep moving the teeth up is all you're going to do really, is move the teeth up some more and try and get that loop closer to where it starts and goes in. And you want to get it in this slot at the same time. Sort of like that. This is too loose. You can see it's too loose. So you take it back off, move it up a few notches on the belt, and then you try and stretch it down and get it over that post and in the slot at the same time. You're trying to do something like that. And that's a little bit better as far as tightness goes. And then you trim some of this excess off of the belt. And that's basically all you do. Let's see, where's my scissors? So I trim some of that excess because we definitely don't need all that hanging out here. I'll leave a little bit on there. Maybe. Hey, that's not going to work. Some other diagonal cutters here. Okay, so first belt's on. I'll bring the camera up. See if I can. Well, let's see. Another way I can do that. I don't know. Might be able to turn it sideways and do it. Let's see, shorten up my tripod legs on this little mini tripod. See if I can put the camera here in. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh, turn the fan on. That I wanted. Or the other lights on. And we'll turn on the other camera. And oh, you can see in there. Okay, so you can see the gear. Let's see, I want to. So we're going to put that in, we're going to bring this up and over through the inside here, go back down and over the motor. And on the bottom I'm just going to go around the pulley real quick, just loop it around. So then this fits in the slot on here. Come on. Maybe. There we go. We have it in the slot there, and then we just do what we did on the other one, which is create the loop. Try and keep the belt tight when we do it. Damn it. And I just knocked the camera over so you can't see now. Okay. Doesn't matter. You don't need to see that now because we're done showing that. And we'll get this. I'll turn that camera back off now. Okay, so now we got this other camera here. We're only using the one camera now. I just need to create the loop in the belt here, and we'll get it. Try and get it around that part. While we're trying to keep the belt tension. That's a little too tight. I can't even pull it over it. So move a couple of teeth up and try and get this over that. Nope, still too tight. What I'm trying to do is get over that piece, and I had it over it and then it slipped out. Come on. Almost. Ah. So I must have just a touch, like one tooth too tight. Got it in there. Now you want to get it in the slot. And this is loose. I did better the first on the other one. The other one's quite tight. This one's quite loose still. Seemed to work better when I came from the other direction with this, when I did this before. I'll tighten that side up. That's too loose, I can tell already. That's still too loose. Could go a little bit tighter with that. That's too much, I can tell. Okay, so that's reasonably tight. And then we have one more belt to do. These guys should be good and hard now, and there you go. So what I found was better was to put the one going down first, and then pulling in it, because then it pulls against the end stop, and we don't have to deal with let's see, put this one this way. No, this way. And we do start from the bottom on the pulley, so that way it pulls down when we're trying to pull this tight, and loop it around the bottom idler. Bring it back up. Bring it through the opening and over the top of the motor gear. And got stuck there. Okay, so now we got that over the top. I'll try and, I don't know if I can stretch that much. I'm not sure how much I can stretch this belt. Ah. So my hands are slipping down the belt as I'm pulling it. Nope, almost get it, but not quite. Ugh. Okay, gotta lower that. I just gotta get in the slot. Okay, so that's tight. Okay, so I got all the belts on. So everything in place, it looks like, for the most part. Belts are on. They may want to trim these a little bit and get rid of the excess, like this one is really long, and cut it down. Let's see, this one's the long one, and we'll cut it down. Now, if you need to tension them, you just take these little spring-like devices and you'll put it on the belt. What you want to make sure of is that it doesn't fit in a spot where it's going to create a problem. So you want to put it actually on the side that has the, you know, the, I'm not sure how you work these. I haven't used these. So you want to put it on the spot, on the side where it's attached to the sled, because otherwise it's going to try and go through this slot. So you want it on this side over here where you put it in around the post. So you want it on that side. That way when it reaches the bottom, it's still in a range where it's not going to get pulled over or anything, and it's not going to change or cause it to catch on anything. So that's where we're at. This one's a little long on this end too. That one cut. Okay, so that pretty much concludes that. So we have our motors all hooked up. We don't have the final power hooked up yet. We don't have this part, which is the drive for the gear motor, for this, I think this motor. We don't have that hooked up yet. What else don't we have? I think that's almost it. Just need to start putting the effector together. And let's see, we find the effector. It's not in this one. And not that. So there's the effector. So that's the next thing we're working on. As we showed before here, we're going to do this. Now it puts the effector in place. Right here. So you put the M320. I think it's may only be one on there, on this end. And like maybe a nut on the other end. I don't know. It doesn't really show you on here again. No, doesn't even tell you either. That's nice of them, isn't it? The effective lubricant system can be used as fisheye bearing to reduce friction. Install the head of the screws on the fisheye. Load the M3 nut at the red ring on the back of the belt connector. Oh, we already talked about. Oh, okay. There's supposed to be nuts in here, and you put them through. I didn't put the nuts in. That's a problem. Oops, I missed that because they don't even talk about it. They only talk about it. They don't mention. They don't show pictures of you putting them in. Okay, so I missed that. That means my belts now are on, and I got to take them back off to put the nut in because it goes on the back side of this. And shit. So there we go. Let's take this guy off. And we'll go in and we'll fix that problem. So, I missed that. You guys get to see it. I will do one so you can see me do it. You don't need to watch me do this over and over and over again. So, yeah. My mistake. You don't need to bear. You don't need to be burdened to buy it. And I will try and add a note like I did on another part of this, where I put a note in there that said, put these in, put those M4s into the channels. I put that in a note in there because I forgot to do it. Things you learn as you're doing it, and you go, oh crap, I needed that. It happens. So I get to put the problems out there first, and you get to learn from it. You learn from my mistakes. I've got that on the back here. There are 2 slots, and some M4 nuts go in there, or M3 nuts go in there, and that's so that you can put those M320s in the holes and screw it in, and screw it through the fisheye bearing on this end. Okay, everything's tight on there. So that's basically done. And we'll pull this back down now and get this guy back together. And put that back on. We'll pull this down again. Hey, you know what? We've been here and done that. And I will put the tension on that so I can get over this and into the slot. And nicely done. Okay. Now to show you what we're going to do. I'm not going to show you all of them because why waste your time watching me do something over and over again. Now it says M320s. Well, you know, well, I guess I do have them. These are probably M320s right here. I have M316s and M320s left, I think. Oh, turn it on so I can see. Yeah, so these are 20s. So the M320s are supposed to go through here, but through the rod first, through the fisheye bearing and the rod. And you'll put it in to here. Into that nut that we put in there, if I can get it to line up. Nope. Yeah, probably shouldn't have put those together yet. Nope, 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 nope. Yep, probably should not have put those on yet. Let's take that back off. I can't find the screw. I don't know how it lined up. Can't find the nut, rather. So I'm not sure how it lined up on here. It's not allowing me to go in. I hope you guys are learning something from this. Don't do what I did. Pay attention. Don't do the things that I have done, as they say. Oh, that don't want to. It didn't go in. It went in the slot, but it didn't go all the way, seat all the way down in. And so it wants to basically not be lined up, and that's why it wouldn't go. Yeah, it's still not wanting to go in. I don't know if there's something I need to do differently with that. It's not wanting to go in there at all. And those are the only nuts that came with this. And these are M3, right? Yep. They're not wanting to fit in here because there's a little plastic lip inside here that is stopping it from going down in. I don't know if I can show you that lip I'm talking about on here or not. See if I can. So, let's see. Right here. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I can't zoom in. I can't even tell. Is that in focus or not? Let's check camera settings. Let's see. Can't really see inside there. Let me see if I can move this over into the light a little better. Maybe that'll help. I can't tell. I don't know if you can see it or not, because right in here, it's right from this angle, in the right direction here. Oh, there you go. You can see it on. So you can see in there, there's like a step in here, and that step is stopping the nut from going all the way down in, and so I can't get the nut in there far enough to thread into. So what do I do to fix that? The only thing I can think of is try and cut it out somehow, because I can't get my nut in there with that there. Let's see. Excuse me. I look for something here. Poop. I lost them. Can't find my control now. There it is. Okay, let's bring that back. Save the video. Oops, I just opened two of them again. Camera, and focus is on, okay. And auto exposure is on. Wow, that's really not gonna work. Okay, that looks good. And auto expose on that level. And say apply. And okay. Alright, so we got that all set now. And let's see what we can do. Trying to think of what I want to do. There's different ways I can get rid of that step. One, I could heat up my tool here. This tool. I can heat it up and melt out that piece, which might be the easiest way, because then I don't have to worry about trying to, because I don't know if my X-Acto can get in there and actually cut it. So it's probably easier to heat this up with like my lighter or something. Okay. Yep. Okay, so I went and got my cigar lighter so that I can use it to heat this up. I'm going to clean off the epoxy off of the steel here. I don't think the epoxy is going to smell too good. Heat it up to a high temperature. Okay. Got my cigar lighter. I'll heat this up. I don't know if you can see me or not. I'm heating up this tool. Oh, the camera's too high for you to see. And a little far away as well. Let's bring that in. Bring it down. So here's the tool. I'm heating it up. I'm going to heat it up and try and melt that step out of there. This is my cigar lighter. Wow. Excuse me. Boy, that smells so wonderful. Okay. I think I've got it good enough. Still don't want to go in. I thought I had it that far enough to do that. Nope. Almost, but not quite. Let's see. Don't know if that'll... Nope. Nope. It looks like I got it, but it's just not out of the way. So close, and yet so far. Huh. I can't really see what's causing this now. Yep, still got enough of a lick in there that it's just stopping it from going. Of course, doing this is also softening the steel. This really isn't stainless steel. Looks like it's probably just chrome plated, whatever it is. Oh. Really close now on that one. I got another one to do. And you got to do this to all of them. Ah. All right, I got one. Yeah, that one's not going to go in yet. With the same problem as the other one. It's going to take a lot more to get it to come out of there. Or go in there. So, what I do is melt, chip it away a little bit, melt, chip it away a little bit, and then I got the first nut to fit in. And I got number one. That allowed me to put the effector, or the arm on along with the fisheye bearing into the first one. But I don't want to do that right now, not while I'm trying to dig out the other one and get it all ready to go here, so that I can put the second bearing in. And if I can get this thing to, I can see it in there now, the piece that's still there, that's stopping me from going in. That requires some more melting, so I can get that. Can't tell if I got it out of the way or not, because I'll find out in a minute. Try and put the nut in, see if it'll go down far enough. Might be. Use my needle nose here and push it down a little more. Really close. Yep. Got it. Okay. So, got that. put this in, screw it into there, take my key handle and screw it in. So, why they use 20s on this, I don't know. They could use a shorter one, but whatever. Okay, got the first one on the rod, all set to go. One down, one to go on this one, and grab another 20 also right there. I think it was. And put it through the fisheye into here. Get the thread started. And screw it in. Now on the effector plate where we attach the other end of these fisheye bearings and rods, is I think it was M310s for that. Okay, so got that. I think those were M310s. Yeah, right here it says M310. So grab an M310. We'll come through one of these rods and into the effector plate, and we'll screw it in. We'll grab another M310. Oh, the thing is still turning, so it's not turning, it didn't harden. Anyway, put that in. Did I do this the right way? Oh, that's the way it went. Yeah. I can look at the drawing here in a minute, but I'm pretty sure this is how it goes. So it's almost the same width as the other end. That goes on that one, like that. Yep. And that's how we put them together. Tighten that. Tighten that. And that's ready. And then this can go back on there and we can put the belt back on. And that's the way that goes. Push that back in. Get it all nice and snug again. So that's where we're at with that. I'll do the rest. You don't need to sit here and watch me do them all. You get to watch me cut out all this plastic that's in there. So if you run into the same problem, you'll know exactly what it is. It's a little step inside the plastic sled. I showed you it in the video so you can see it. So that's the problem. Heat it up, melt it out, gouge out what's left, put the nut in, screw in the screws through the fisheye bearings, and then hook up the effector plate. You got to do that 6 rods, 3 sleds, and it'll be done. And I got to do all this over again. But you've seen how to assemble it. You know how to do the belt. You know how to do all that. And now you see the problem again. Another problem with a part. I don't know how I solved that. I don't think I had that problem in the other one. So that was about a different one. They look the same. The effectors look the sleds look the same as my other printer. Let's take a look at it. They look very, very much the same as my other printer. As my other Delta printer. Let's see, where am I? Oh, I have both cameras on right now, so let's take this other camera. and we'll show the sleds on this printer, and then you can see what I'm talking about. They're basically the same sled as what we're using right now, and I didn't have this problem with it. So I'm assuming that it's something either they made or they bought and the part was made wrong and they had that step inside, and that's causing us a problem. Not the first problem, obviously, because we had the problem with the metal plates being wrong, and then we have now the problem with the inside the sleds, or the belt connectors being wrong. I'm going to take off another one. I want to see if the problem exists in all of these, or if that was just a one-shot deal of it being wrong, of it being a problem, or am I going to have the same problem on all of them? And the possibility then that you all will have the same problem if it is a problem with the parts themselves and they're all that way. And the final Jeopardy answer is yes, it has a step in this one as well. So I have the same problem. I have to melt it out and do the same thing. So I'm going to look at the other one out and get it, have everything prepped and ready, and I'll do it tomorrow when I come home from work. And yeah, always fun, isn't it? You have to do this kind of stuff to make things work for you and think that things are wrong. And of course, then you have the manufacturer, SRAMBOT, saying, "Oh, you assembled it wrong. Put the plates on first, then put the rails in." Can't do that either, by the way. Somebody else tried that and showed pictures of it, and you cannot do it. The parts are just wrong. So SRAMBOT, you need to step up to the plate. I know you don't want to spend money, but you guys made the mistake. We didn't. And so you're trying to put it all on your customer, because just like you try to gouge us for, sorry to say this, but you tried to gouge us for supposed tariffs that don't exist, and you want us to pay you, basically you want to make money, and you're asking us to pay you more money for stuff that you didn't pay for. So don't try and gouge your customers, because all that does is irritate them, and you'll lose customers. You'll lose people who will just say, you know, I'm going to tell all my friends about this, you know, how they tried to scam us for money, you know, how they were late for everything, they didn't communicate. You know, communication is number one. I commented on that in somebody else's post, saying, you know, it would have been better if you guys had been upfront when you had problems. You know, why are you late? Oh, we needed to redesign this, or we needed to do that. It wasn't manufacturable the way it was. You know, I understand all these things, having worked in manufacturing for many years. Maybe everybody else won't understand, but you need to at least be upfront and tell people, we're having this problem. We're going to be late. But you sit there and you have silence, and then you do silence, silence, silence. Oh, here's a picture of some stuff. Silence, 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 silence. Here's another picture of some stuff. Silence, 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 silence. And then you're, what, half a year, 8 months late delivering, and then you try and hit us for a charge for tariffs. Tariffs that no other manufacturer is paying. I do not see Creality 3D printers going up. I don't see TiVo's 3D printers going up in price. 25% is significant. So 25% increase, they aren't going to absorb that. They're going to sit there and they're going to pass that on to the consumer, which is us, and they haven't done that. So that tells me that it wasn't true. You don't have those tariffs. You were just trying to get people to pay you money. Those that did, I'm sorry. I mean, great for SRAMBOT to get the money from you, but I think that you foolishly gave them the money. But like someone else said, you know, I've wasted a lot of money on other things and got nothing. So at least on this one, I'm getting something. And that's true. I've wasted money on many Kickstarters that failed and never got anything out of them. So at least this one delivered something. So you do have that as a consolation, but maybe you haven't received it yet. And I've had other Kickstarters where they've delivered to some people and not delivered to others because they ran out. So you never know. So after this, you can see what we're doing. We'll get this all done. I'll finish it up tomorrow. I have to go to bed. It's already 10:30 p.m. and I have to get up at 4:30. I'll set up all this to do my extrusion and get so there's the extruder itself, the expansion sleeve and all that stuff, and we'll get it all set up and ready to go. So we have the extruder pusher installation, and here's that and the worm drive gear and all that kind of stuff. Even though I don't consider that a worm drive, the threads on there is more of a machine screw thread than a worm screw thread. Worm screw is typically more like what you see on a standard, like a Prusa type design, same as the Creality Ender 3 and CR10. Those gears are more of a worm drive, where this is more of a standard machine thread that just happens to have a key cut in it. And you can see how banged up the thread. The threads are kind of banged up a bit, from like they held it in a vise or something while they were machining the key slot into it. So not best practices on their stuff as far as that goes. Just like there wasn't a good job of doing this plate or the other plate. Things they didn't verify. They should have taken the first set of these before they actually gave them to us. They obviously did not build with production parts, one of the printers, to prove out their production parts. They just got them, put them in a box, and shipped them out. If they had done this, they would have seen this problem and they would have fixed it. They could have widened the slots like I did. They could have done it professionally and done a better job, made it look prettier than I did. But I did good enough that it works. It's done, and it will do the job the way it is. As you just saw, I put the belts on. It didn't have any problems, so it will work just fine. Then after this, like I said, we start putting together the what would normally be in a standard 3D printer, the hot end. Right, so we'll start putting together this. This would normally be a hot end on your, and then you'd have, or the hot end here, where the nozzle is, and then the hot end. So this would be where you're, in a standard 3D printer, this would be like where your heat break and all that is. And then this is your nozzle that we're putting in here. So I mean, that's basically the same, that's the analogy of a standard printer. And then that all fits into the effector plate, and then we start building the actual device that pushes the clay through a tube and into the expansion sleeve here, and then it gets pumped out and into the nozzle, and then gets laid down on the build plate. And that might be what the piece of wood is for. Don't know. So I don't know the answer to all that yet. So there's how you mount it. There's the control for it, the power board and all that stuff for that. Then we build the LCD mount and mount that on the printer. And then we're going to go through. We're going to mount the electronics that actually control the motors and stuff for pushing the clay. We'll mount those, and that's pretty much the end of that. And then we'll start. We need to go in and we'll load the firmware into the control board, and then we'll finish up whatever our wiring. Like we'll finish up our limit switch wiring to the control board, and then we'll do a home on it. After the firmware, we'll home it, make sure everything all go up to the top and hit the limit switches for homing, and then we'll do see if we can zero the thing, get it go down to the zero level on the print bed, and then I need to order some clay. Now, I don't know if I need to thin the clay out from the standard clay that you buy for ceramics. You know, add water to it to thin it out a bit to do it. So I don't know that yet. I don't know what the consistency of the clay needs to be. You know, watching them mix it, it didn't look like it was super thin. It looked like it was fairly thick when they mixed the powder. If you look at Cerambot's website, they have a powder that is actually clay powder. You add water to it and then it's clay. So they showed mixing it, and it didn't seem like it was super thin. So I'm assuming it doesn't need to be super thin for it to work. But it has to be thin enough you're going to push it through this thing, right? And push it out and put it on a build plate and build a model out of it. So it needs to be thin enough for that, but not so thin that it just runs like water. You know, we don't want it that thin. You don't want it to run on its own. You want it to basically put it in place and stay in place when it prints. So you're going to put out basically it's going to create like a little worm of material, and it's going to lay it down, and then it's going to lay another one on top of it. And it's just going to keep doing that over and over and over again as it builds whatever model you have sliced. They're using Cura for the slicer. Doesn't really matter what you use for it. We'll use Cura because that's what they're using, and I'll show it with Cura. I might try and do it with Simplify 3D because that's what I use all the time, and you know, try that. See if I can get it to slice in Simplify. Create a profile for it in Simplify. And what else? We're almost there. I mean, really, we don't have that much more to go. Like the limit switches, loading in the firmware, hooking up the power supply, which is just plug and play, and setting up the extruders. So we maybe got a couple more days. Probably, if I did it nights like I'm currently doing, maybe Friday night I'll finish that part, and then Saturday I can. So maybe tomorrow I'll order some clay and get the clay in. It's not expensive. It's $50 for 50 pounds, so $1 a pound for it on Amazon. And what I might do is a test to see how it pushes through the tubing, by hand, and see how it comes out, and maybe have to add water to it to mix it up some more, and then push it through and see how that comes out. You need to be careful. You don't want to create a bunch of air pockets, so the air pockets will be in the clay when you're extruding it, and you want to keep things as air pocket free as you can for what we're doing. Let's see, then I need to buy some other stuff, later, like glazes and stuff like that, in order to make like coffee cups and things that'll hold water. And that's pretty much it. And I guess I'm going to call it a night. I believe part 5 should be done by now. Let's see, go to YouTube here. And yeah, it says processing's all done, so it's ready to go. Oh, that's nice. Put surround like Tom, it should be top. Bottom, top. Okay, bottom. See, it took this title from my file title. Top. And motor. ASS. EMY assembly part 5. So Cerambot, ceramic 3D printer. 3D printer. will be it. And that'll about do it. That's all the keywords I'm going to put in here. And then the description is CONTINUING, continuing, PILDOGCERA, ceramic printer. Technically, it's not a ceramic printer because it doesn't actually print ceramic, it prints clay. You have to fire it, glaze it, and do all these other things in order to make it ceramic. So it's really not a ceramic printer, but that's what they want to call it, but so whatever. So this was the bottom plate, Thomas base top plate, and the motor ASSEMBLY assembly. Okay, so building and ATTACHING, attaching bottom plate, top plate, and motor assembly. And then we'll publish that. And then it gives me my link. And then I can go to Facebook. And let's see if we got any posts from Cerambot or anybody. Blue. There. So I hear. There's Cerambot. And I will post in here. Come on. What the hell? I do that. Okay, so we'll go here and I'll put a comment. And my comment will, oh, that's not, I put it under that guy and not under where I want it. Okay. Part 5 of the build video is now available on my YouTube channel at, and the link, and then say post. All right, I'm done. We'll see you all